Hello everyone, Nick the DM, back from my journey through the plains to introduce you to another planar dragon. Beneath the infinite pitch-black rapids of the river Styx, a race of serpentine dragons haunt the waters, searching for prey. These are the Styx dragons, also called Shadowdrakes or Darkwyrms. The Styx dragons aren't like your conventional dragons from the material plane. They have long, serpentine bodies with tiny, flipper-like claws that are ineffective in combat and don't aid in traveling on land. The Styx dragons have one pair of wings that are too small to actually give them the ability to fly, but are still strong enough to aid them in swimming. The dragon's long tail that makes up most of its length ends in two long, bladed whips that cause it to deal slashing damage instead of bludgeoning with its tail attacks. The length of its tail allows it to grapple targets when striking them. A Styx dragon is covered in slimy scales that range from a dark brown to a dusty red color. Its eyes glow with a pale yellow light. Because they live in the river Styx, the Styx dragons can be found on almost any of the lower plains as the river flows through them, normally burrowing into the banks of the river and feasting on any and all fiends it comes across. Styx dragons will normally eat the meat of fiends, but any meat will satisfy them. Whichever of the lower planes the Styx dragon is born on is where it tends to stay, but on the rare occasion that some greater power would summon one to the material plane, a Styx dragon would thrive in fetid, murky waters, which is what it will search out the moment it is summoned. At the age of Great Worm, a Styx dragon who has spent most of its life on a single plane would acquire the variant summoning abilities as seen in the 5th edition monster manual, giving it the ability to summon a specific type of fiend native to the plane it lives on. Next, we take a look at the stat block. Like usual with the planar dragons, I will go over the ancient age category for the Styx dragon here in the video, but I will have a link in the description for wormling, young, adult, and ancient stat blocks for the Styx dragon. Now, on to the stats. Ancient Styx dragon. Gargantuan dragon, neutral evil. Has an armor class of 21, has 462 hit points, or 25 d20 plus 200, and a movement speed of 30 feet on land, a burrow speed of 20 feet, and a swim speed of 40 feet. Now, despite its serpentine form, it still can move quite quickly on land, as you can see, but it naturally is found more in the water. But this does not mean it won't chase any prey onto land. For ability scores, it has a 28 strength, a 10 dexterity, a 27 constitution, an 18 intelligence, 17 wisdom, and 19 charisma. It has proficiency in dexterity, constitution, and wisdom saving throws. It has proficiency in perception and stealth, and it has immunities to the poison damage and the poisoned condition. As for its senses, it has a 60-foot blind sight, a 120-foot dark vision, and a passive perception of 19. It does not speak any languages, unlike most dragons who speak both Draconic, Common, and another type of language, or at least a multitude of languages. The Styx dragon does not speak at all, whether this is from lack of any intellectual interaction with other creatures, or the fact that it doesn't care enough to talk. The ancient dragon has a CR of 19, so fairly low, but I will touch on that later. Just like all ancient or adult dragons, it has legendary resistance 3 times per day, so it can succeed a saving throw that it fails on. It is amphibious, so it can breathe air and water. It has an ability called Styx Adaptation. Styx dragons are immune to the effects of the river Styx, effects that I will touch on later. It is also immune to diseases. So just like your average paladin at high levels, it cannot be affected by any types of diseases. Its weapon attacks are magical for the purposes of overcoming resistances, and one of the biggest things is Stygian wasting. Stygian wasting is a disease unique to the creatures on the river Styx. Some creatures, anyways. A creature hit with an attack from a creature who can infect others must succeed a Constitution saving throw or become infected. Symptoms of Stygian wasting begin one day after the creature becomes infected. The creature's hair starts to fall out, and their skin starts to rot and become septic. Each day the creature is infected, their hit point maximum is reduced by 1d4. This disease can be cured by a spell such as Lesser Restoration, Greater Restoration, or Heal, as most other diseases. That is Stygian wasting, that disease, comes in a lot with its certain attacks, and it can be devastating to parties because not just in combat, but further on, if they are stuck on the river Styx, they will have difficulties resisting that. Innate spell casting, like most of the other planar dragons and dragons from earlier editions, it has specific spells it can innately cast. It's charisma based. It has a saving throw or a spell save of 18 plus 10 to hit with spell attacks, and it can cast the following spells requiring no material components. 3 times per day each, it can cast Fog Cloud, Darkness, and Control Water, and once per day each, it can cast Stinking Cloud, Hold Monster, and Feeble Mind. If you want to check out the other spells it used to have in earlier editions, go check out the 3.5 Draconomicon. This is where this dragon came from in 3.5. Of course, I've changed it over a little bit for 5th edition, and some spells have changed quite a bit, and some just no longer exist. So go see what it used to have. Now for the actions. It has its multi-attack, which, like most dragons, allow it to use its Frightful Presence, and then, unlike most dragons, it can only make 2 attacks after that. It can make one with its bite and one with its tail or its crush attack. Other dragons normally get a bite and 2 claws, and their tail is a legendary action, but this dragon works a little bit differently. So, Frightful Presence, of course, 120 feet, has a DC 18 Wisdom saving throw, or any creature affected is frightened. I'll let you go over that. Frightful Presence is pretty natural to dragons. Its bite attack, it has a plus 15 to hit, a reach of 15 feet. It hits one target. It deals 20 or 2d10 plus 9 piercing damage, and the target must succeed a DC 22 Constitution save or be afflicted with Stygian wasting, which can be, again, devastating, especially when it slowly reduces their max hit points. Depending on what campaign you're running, whether the Lesser Restoration restores the actual hit points back to maximum is up to the DM, of course. Maybe it could be something Lesser Restoration doesn't. It just stops the spread, and Greater or Heal will bring it back up. Or maybe it's just permanent. Its next attack is its tail attack, a plus 15 to hit in a reach of 25 feet. Hits one target and deals 4d8 plus 9 slashing damage, or 27, which is a lot more damage than most dragons can deal in one attack, but it does have less attacks than normal. And the target is grappled with an escape DC of 18. Until this grapple ends, the target is restrained, and the Styx dragon cannot grapple another target. A creature hit by this must succeed a DC 22 Constitution saving throw or be afflicted with Stygian wasting as the bite. Now its crush attack. This is plus 15 to hit, a reach of 5 feet, one target restrained by the dragon. So this is any target that is basically grappled by its tail attack. And on a hit, this deals 45 or 8d8 plus 9 bludgeoning damage. It's a devastating attack, but keep in mind, while it has a creature grappled, especially if it's a heavy tanker in the party, it will only be able to use its bite attack and then this attack. Because it won't be able to hit anyone else with its tail. And if a creature is resistant to bludgeoning damage, such as a Raging Barbarian, this will do a good amount of damage, but it will take quite a while for it to actually do anything, and also they have the ability to break out of it. So a lot of damage, but it's a give and take there. Now, like metallic dragons and most of the planar dragons, this dragon has 2 breath weapon attacks. Of course, once one is used, it has to recharge. It can't use one and then the other while it's recharging. It's just, for the breath weapons, you use a breath weapon, then you see if it recharges the next turn. First one it has is an acid breath, and I enjoy this one because it's slightly different than other ones, as very specified by the Draconomicon. It exhales an acid mist in a 60-foot line, shorter than normal, that is 5 feet wide. Each creature in that line must make a DC 22 dexterity saving throw, taking 14d8 or 63 acid damage on a failed save, or half as much on a successful one. Then the acid mist persists for 3 rounds. So that round, the round it uses this, When it gets back to its turn, that's the second round. Gets back to its turn, then the third round, then it's gone. Any creature who enters it on the second round takes 7d8 acid damage, so half. And any creature that enters it on the third round takes 4d8. Now, these don't have any saves because they'd have to deliberately walk into it or get thrown into this area, so they don't get a chance to save on it. So it's just a persistent acid mist, which, while it's pretty, it will block off most of the field and maybe stop any players from getting around there. When the players are on a boat in the river Styx, and they have only one direction to go, really, like with the torrents, with their guide, which I might touch on in another video, it's going to probably hit most of the party, especially over the course of a few rounds. Its next breath weapon is its Stupefying Breath. The dragon exhales gas in a 90-foot cone. Each creature in that area must make a DC 22 intelligence saving throw or have disadvantage on intelligence-based attack rolls, intelligence checks, and intelligence saving throws for 1 minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Now, legendary actions, because it doesn't have wings, it lacks that wing legendary action, but and because its tail is part of its main attack and pretty much one of its biggest things, that is also gone. The only thing it does have is its bite attack, costs 1 legendary action, and its detect, which make a perception check. Now, one thing you might notice about the Styx dragon is it doesn't seem to be particularly powerful, especially for a dragon. But that's because the biggest threat of the Styx dragon isn't the dragon, but the river itself. Depending on which edition you take from, the river Styx can do one of many things. It could afflict you with the Feeble Mind spell, it could cause you to temporarily lose your memories, or permanently lose some or all of your memories. 3 different effects from varying editions. Whichever you or your DM chooses for the river Styx, the one thing they all have in common is they require intelligence saving throws. Combining this with the Styx dragon's Stupefying Breath and the ability to grab a creature and drag them into the depths, this can become incredibly dangerous. Now, of course, under the effects of Feeble Mind, the creature loses most of its abilities for like spells and stuff like that, but it can still tell who its allies are. But if it loses any memories it has, depending on ruling in that, it could lose class abilities as well. So that can be really devastating. Of course, this can be cured through a number of ways, such as Wish, or in the case of Feeble Mind, Heal or Greater Restoration, and again, all up to your DM. There is another way, but I won't touch on that in this episode. If I make an episode on the river Styx itself, then I will let you know about that secret way to heal the effects of the river Styx. And that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please give this video a like and subscribe for more videos like this. I hope to see you all next time. Once again, thanks for coming out, and see you later. Bye.